Horan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the call. In addressing the important preliminary provisions of this bill that determines remuneration for MPs, Part 1 of the bill, I would like to indicate, sir, my intention to seek a couple of calls on this part, Mr. Chair, to discuss the purposes outlined in Clause 3 and also the changes to Clause 4 proposed by the Honourable Materia Ture's supplementary order paper. Sir, Clause 3 and 4 set out the purposes of the Act and provide an overview, a roadmap to the substance of the bill. In Clause 3, Subclause 1, we are told the primary purpose of the Act is to ensure that the House and its members are properly supported in a way that maintains confidence in the integrity of Parliament. A bit of a masterpiece of drafting, but does not reflect what a difficult task it is to achieve that in the real world. Sir, I live in Mount Maunganui, and speaking to people in Mount Maunganui and Tauranga, I can tell you that everybody thinks that MPs are well paid. That is, well paid by the standards of the average Kiwi. I know there are many MPs who could be earning more in other jobs, other businesses, and who view their work here as service to their country. Be that as it may, Kiwis think that MPs are well paid. What is not realised by a lot of people in New Zealand is that MPs do not set our wages. A few people who take an interest know that there is an independent body, the Remuneration Authority, which set wages for MPs. We can make submissions, as indeed this House did in 2009 when it supported the motion of Jeanette Fitzsimons for a nil wage order. But the Remuneration Authority makes its decisions independently and tells MPs what their wages will be. I will have a little more to say on this in the debate on Part 2 and the SOP in my name proposing to have MPs' pay determined before the election and to apply for the 3-year term. And I must say I hope that parties in this House will support that when we come to it. Although I must say I was quite surprised today when interviewed by a reporter saying that she had spoken to some people and some MPs weren't going to vote because they did not like me. And I would just say that I'm sorry for their poor judge of character, but also that it would really surprise me if an MP in this House would ever vote on something because they didn't like somebody rather than the content or the merit of that particular SOP. But, sir, to return to Clause 3, it's not easy to preserve confidence in the integrity of Parliament. Indeed, some actions by some MPs may be said to directly attack that confidence. However, the second leg of the clause is to ensure members are properly supported. In other words, we have to have the tools to do the job. If we were plumbers, we would know he's down in Christchurch at the racing. Yes. If we were plumbers, we would need the tools to do the job. If we were builders, we would. And I would like to acknowledge the Honourable Maurice Williamson for clarity on this point. We would each need a cell phone, a ute and a dog. But we are members of Parliament, sir. We need information. And I would like to acknowledge the important role that the library undertakes for all MPs and the wonderful job that they do. We also need access to internet and email, and also the skills and competencies as we have emerging technologies and a rise in those technologies. We need to be able to communicate. Communication is number one. And we need to be able to travel around New Zealand. So recently, in the last week, I know MPs have travelled everywhere for important work. Last weekend, I travelled to Auckland, then I travelled to Rotorua to help some of the Tachi Kāwara workers. And so MPs need to travel. Recently, I travelled to Foxton. I had a phone call when we were debating the psychoactive substances bill. And the concerned members of Foxton rang me and said they had 2 dairies that were selling these substances. So, sir, I was able to come to Wellington and then drive to Foxton. I was able to talk to those dairy owners, and the dairy owners were unaware of some of the effects and some of the extremely harmful substances that are, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That are in those that are in the psychoactive substances and some of those synthetic cannabinoids, and it's going to be very interesting, sir. I wonder about some of the side effects that we might have there, similar to.
Order. This is well outside the scope.
Oh, thank you, sir. Back to the bill. And I was talking about travel, because sometimes MPs need to travel for devastatingly sorrowful reasons, and I would like to pay homage to Parikura Horemia's tangi. Now, I know that there are people who talk about access to telephones, the ability to travel, and our access to a bed to sleep in. Some people view those as perks. A number of them are in the gallery, and I will neither attack them for their view nor try to dissuade them from their folly. I respect their right to be wrong. Indeed, sir, I would defend their right. But the facts of the matter is that I don't travel for fun. When I get on an aircraft, it's business. When I check into a hotel or motel, it is because I'm away from my home, away from my family, because of my work as a Member of Parliament. When MPs want to relax, it's generally with their families at home. But, sir, when I'm using communication, information, travel and accommodation, I'm simply using the tools of our trade that are necessary, indeed essential, for us to do our jobs as Members of Parliament. Sir, I note that in Clause 4, Subclause 4, that Part 4 provides legislative authority for former Members of Parliament, and that is something I do not support. If it were in my gift, we would strike this out. Thankfully, the entitlement has been grandfathered out. It will not apply to any MP first elected at or after the 1999 election. I believe it's inappropriate because these people were well paid when they were in Parliament. They have done their job, and there's really no reason they should get discounts of up to 90% on international travel for life and substantial numbers of domestic flights. Sir, I ask you tell me if there is any other job which provides benefits for life long after the job has been finished. Certainly the people of Mount Maunganui and Tauranga don't know of any jobs like that, and I don't know anybody at the beach that even has a job like that. Sir, I want to turn to Materia Ture's SOP 369, which would give to the Remuneration Authority the task of determining what travel and accommodation services are to be provided for MPs. I acknowledge that the member believes this is important to bolster confidence in the integrity of Parliament, public confidence that is, and I would like to thank her for taking the time to talk with me about this SOP, to explain her reasoning and to argue her case. And I would like to repeat my appreciation, sir, for her party's support for democracy, that they cast my proxy vote. I repeat my thanks to the Greens caucus. But I will have to disagree on this amendment. I believe that it is important that the authority and responsibility for determining what travel MPs can undertake, what accommodation they can access, remains with the Speaker. The Speaker understands the demands of the job and the importance of family. Sir, I support Part 1 of the bill.
Member, a point of order, Barbara Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wonder if you could please bring to that new member's notice the fact that standing orders actually prevents him from talking about somebody's absence from the House or whereabouts that person is.
Order. Yes, well, he was responding to an interjection about where someone was, and he replied. So. That's a rebuttal to an interjection. Members, we move to the vote on Part 1. First, we have Materia Ture's amendments as set out on SOP number 369. The question is that the amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The noes have it. A party vote's called for. I ask the clerk to conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
33 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes in favour.
New Zealand First.
7 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
3 opposed.
Mana.
1 vote in favour.
ACT New
1
Zealand.
opposed.
United Future. Brendan Horan.
1 vote opposed.
Any other votes?
Members, the ayes are 15, the noes are 105. The amendments are not agreed to. The questioners at part 1 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, we now move to part 2, debate on clauses 9 to 15. The questioners at part 2 stand part. The Honourable Christopher Finlayson.
Mr Chairman, just a brief